just want to clarify a few things about my video, which I posted earlier on this morning. A picture of the stadium on it, Stadium Armageddon. This time it's different, that particular video. Because I've read so many of the comments, and so many of the comments are assuming that I mean something different to I do. Basically, you've got me wrong. Not all of you, but enough comments. Now, that's not uncommon on YouTube, but sometimes with just one or two, I think, oh, you know what, someone's just looked at the picture and typed a comment, or, you know, they've watched the first 5 minutes and haven't really got the video in its entirety. However, when there's so many, I mean, sort of 20, 30, 40, that type of number, I think I've probably got something wrong. I've probably not explained myself correctly for everybody, at least. I think I'm probably guilty, number one, of assuming everybody watches these videos on a daily basis. So if I assume that, I assume you actually know my opinions. I think I sort of assume that everyone gets my sarcasm as well. So I think I've got to stop making those assumptions. I want to get a few things clear from the outset. So this is a clarification video. If you got what I was saying before, fine, right? You won't even need to watch this, okay? But this is the paint by numbers version, if you want. I don't blame the stadium for our form. That's not what I was saying. I was not saying that. The entire point was that I think in the Championship, the stadium will be a hindrance. I don't blame it in any way, shape or form. There's a lot of comments saying, well, hold on, if you're blaming the stadium now, how do you explain the last 2 seasons? Not what I'm saying. Not what I'm saying at all. In the Championship, it's a problem. It's a problem because it's not intimidating. We're too far from the pitch. It's a nice day out for teams like QPR and Reading. I don't know why I've used 2 teams that play in blue hoops. They were the first ones that popped to my head. And I also think, bearing in mind, I think our average attendances at Upton Park in the Championship or in the lower divisions, the last 2 seasons we've been down, there have been about 27,000. I think there's a lot of fans that have been in the London Stadium because of cheap Premier League football. I suspect it's half full and not intimidating. But I'm not blaming it for now. That's why I think it's more important than ever that we don't get relegated. Because we don't go down and get relegated with the comfort blanket of Upton Park. That's the first thing, okay? So I just want to be clear on what I'm saying there. The second thing is I quoted a number of journalists and their reasonings, and their quotes were the reasons why West Ham would be safe. These were not my opinions. These are not what I'm saying. Okay, these are the quotes from other people. I'll tell you the quotes now. These are not me. It's what other people are saying, and I disagree with them. That's really, really important. Because I've got people on there saying, I can't believe that you think just 2 wins and it'll be okay. Not what I was saying. Okay, here are the comments. Who better than David Moyes to keep West Ham up? I think this is lazy journalism. 2 more wins and we're mid-table. The team is struggling due to new player recruitment and the new players not gelling. We've started the season slowly. It's only a matter of time before things get better. Form is temporary, class is permanent. West Ham have been relegated before. What's the problem? Those are not my thoughts. I'm accusing journalists, and not just journalists, not proper journalists, but ex-footballers of basically making lazy comments like that because they're too scared. They're too scared to criticise David Moyes, by the way. Okay. Who better than David Moyes is lazy. The reason it's lazy because it assumes West Ham are just a relegation team. It's judging West Ham as West Ham were in the past. It's not taking into account that West Ham have a team full of world-class players. So my argument is we don't need a Tony Pulis, we don't need a Sam Allardyce, we don't need a Sean Dyche. Actually, we probably, if we're going to replace our manager, need a manager who can get the best out of international players. That's my point. So who better than David Moyes to rescue a low-level team from relegation? Probably not many. Who better than David Moyes to deal with West Ham now? There are probably many that could do a better job at this point in time. Okay. The other thing is I answered a rhetorical question, if you like. I asked myself a question, which was, and I just made this to make the point that I don't think David Moyes has no ability at all. So I said, do I think David Moyes can save West Ham from relegation? I said yes. But then I gave out a team which I thought he would need to rescue us. That's not my team. That's not what I want to happen. Again, I've had comments on this, and I can't believe, Gonzo, that you think this team, we should go with this team. I don't. Here is my point. My point is, for David Moyes to save us from relegation, he'll probably have to drop the new players. His best way out is by not playing Scamacca, it's by playing Antonio. Moyes' best way out is probably by not playing Paqueta. Probably would need to drop Thilo Kehrer. Here is what I'm saying, is that if that happens, then that reflects very badly on David Moyes, and the board will then be saying, well, why did we spend this 180 million? If what you're going to do is try and scrap your way out of the bottom with last season's team, why have we bought a new team? Okay, it's not my team, it's not what I was saying. It's also the whole thing is, I feel, is very, very lazy in the way it's assessed. I also made the point that whilst he kept West Ham up twice, and that was great, he'd also got Sunderland relegated. My point was that the people that his supporters in the press, like I gave the example of Alan Brazil and Ali McCoist, maybe as two, perhaps unfairly, they would never criticise him. That Sunderland's not mentioned. So when the media try and assess whether David Moyes is the right man for the job, they say, look at what he's done. Look at what he did at Everton. And look at what he did at West Ham. They don't say, look at what he did at Sunderland. Okay? That was really my point. And I also wanted to say that I think that probably the best comparison was how he did at Manchester United. The reason that's important, at Manchester United, he was probably dealing with some bigger egos. Well, not probably, he was. And international players. Now, whilst I don't think the West Ham team currently is packed full of massive egos, he is dealing with international players. So here is my summary. Do I think David Moyes is a good manager at picking up a low-level Premier League team, finding the squad that's in place, getting the best out of them, getting the best out of limited players? Yes, I do. He can make them tough to beat, and he can move you up the league. Yes, he can do that. But that's not where I feel West Ham are at the moment. Is David Moyes the man to get Brazil's number 10, a skillful £50 million playmaker, firing? Do I think there's someone better than him that could do that? Yes, I do think there are other managers out there that could probably integrate Paqueta into our team better than David Moyes has. Do I think that David Moyes can take a stroppy player like an Arnautovic, turn him into a striker, and get him scoring goals to get us out of trouble? Yes. Take somebody like Mikel Antonio, who's a winger or a super sub, and turn him into a forward and help us get up the league? Yes. Do I think that there is anybody better to get the best out of Scamacca? I do. So those are really my points. I just really want to reiterate that, okay? I'm not blaming the stadium for this season's form. I'm saying it's a problem if we get relegated. We're at a disadvantage. Championship clubs will enjoy a day out at the London Stadium for lots of reasons I've given. Okay. I don't think 2 wins and everything's fine or anything like that. I think West Ham have got problems at the moment. So I apologise for those of you that didn't understand what I was saying and sort of thought that me quoting other people were the words that came out of my mouth. There were words that came out of my mouth that were my thoughts. They weren't. Because just after I read out the quotes, I went on to criticise the people that were saying them. I do think it's very, very lazy. Anyway, hopefully I've clarified all of that. I'm sorry if you've actually totally understood what I said in the first video and you've watched for all this. You're bonkers if you have, quite frankly. What I do want to say is Gio uploaded a video earlier. He forgot to mention the Mark Noble discount. I say Mark Noble discount. You don't get to buy Mark Noble. Basically, any product with Mark Noble on it in our online store, hammerschatstore.com, you get 16% off. Doesn't matter if it's this, a mug, a Mark Noble t-shirt, literally anything with Mark Noble on it. You put in the code MN16 when you're at the checkout, MN16. And you'll get 16% off. As many items as you want, but everything has to have a Mark Noble. You can't pick out the Declan Rice t-shirt and get 16% off. It has to have Mark Noble on it. Hopefully that makes sense. That is definitely my opinion, by the way, about the Mark Noble stuff. Hopefully that makes sense. It's not the first time it's happened. By the way, sorry, let me just say this before I finish. The other day, I did a video about Mark Noble's interview on TalkSport. I quoted what Mark Noble had said, and the reason behind the video was, listening to what Mark Noble had said, I thought it was clear that David Moyes was quite safe for the time being. I watched the video, I listened to Mark Noble's words. From that, I extrapolated that David Moyes was safe. A couple of people watched that video and thought they were all my own words. They weren't. It was a Mark Noble interview. As I say, when it's a couple of people, I just think, not a problem. But so many, I think I probably got something wrong. I think I framed it wrong. I think I phrased it wrong. I clearly did something. Hopefully that clears it up.